What happens when a nation's narrowest corridor is constantly tested and increasingly threatened by hostile neighbors? India's most vulnerable lifeline is no longer just a map marking. It is being deliberately showcased. A Chinese ambassador is taken to Bangladesh's Teesta project site, just kilometers from the Siliguri Corridor, India's chicken's neck. This is not an infrastructure visit, it is a signal. Because this narrow strip of land, barely 22 kilometers wide, connects 8 northeastern states and over 45 million Indians to the rest of the country. And today, it is under growing pressure. With China expanding its footprint, Pakistan resurfacing in the region, and Dhaka hardening its stance against New Delhi. So is this about river projects and development, or is India's chicken's neck being quietly tested as part of a coordinated strategic squeeze? Hello and welcome. You're watching Statecraft with me, Geeta Mohan. Bangladesh is once again signaling defiance toward India. Muhammad Yunus's interim government has taken the Chinese envoy to the Teesta River project site, just kilometers from India's strategic Siliguri Corridor, commonly called the chicken's neck. Bangladesh's water resources advisor, Saida Rizwana Hassan, accompanied one to the project area in Rangpur's Tapa Madhupur Taluk Shahbazpur and said that China is keen to start implementing the Teesta master plan as soon as possible. This narrow strip of land connects India's northeast to the rest of the country, and today it has become the focus of a high-stakes geopolitical test. The Siliguri Corridor is just 22 kilometers wide at its narrowest point. It connects 8 northeastern states, Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram, Tripura, Meghalaya, and Sikkim to India's mainland. Sever it, and these states risk isolation. Now, Bangladesh, under Yunus, with China at the helm of a major Teesta River project, has turned this vulnerability into a strategic chessboard.
As we all know, that chicken neck is an important area which has got just about 22 kilometers width at the narrowest point. And in case that gets disrupted, obviously the northeast will have issues to deal with. As far as military is concerned, there will be probably no immediate effect on it, basically because the armed forces are well stocked for at least for some time to survive and fight. So to that extent, I would say that it will not be a major issue, but yes, it's a matter of concern. However, for the civilian traffic, it is going to be a great difficulty because the northeast then is going to be probably be cut off. If you say that chicken neck is cut off, then yes, there will be some issue related to the civilian movement, because in this corridor you find the railway line, the roadways, and also the oil pipeline. All of them flow through this corridor. So therefore, it is going to be extremely important to protect this. I'm sure the army and the government are planning on it, because we are. I mean, at least I was aware. I was commanding the division there, so we have certain plans ready for such an eventuality. But the thing is, it is going to affect the normal life till the time it is recovered and then it is resupplied.
The Chinese ambassador's visit to the Teesta project is no ceremonial gesture. Yunus is signaling loudly and deliberately. Dhaka is tilting toward Beijing and away from New Delhi. The move comes after a pattern of anti-India rhetoric, tolerated protests, and alignment with regional powers hostile to India. The Teesta River originates in Sikkim, flows through northern West Bengal, and enters Bangladesh. The river is vital for agriculture, livelihoods, and hydropower. Under former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, India had been the preferred partner for its development. Under Yunus, that preference has vanished. China is now leading large-scale dredging, reservoir building, embankments, and land reclamation, converting the Teesta into an engineered economic corridor under Beijing's supervision. But it is the proximity to India's chicken's neck that elevates concern. Lalmonirhat, a revived World War II-era airbase just 12 kilometers from the corridor, is being upgraded under Chinese supervision. Satellite imagery shows hardened shelters, drone aprons, and underground fuel depots. This is not civilian development. It is dual-use infrastructure with clear strategic implications. The Lalmonirhat airbase, once dormant for decades, now gleams with fresh asphalt. Chinese technical teams supervise its upgrade. For Delhi, this represents a red line. Even framed as a technical visit, Chinese presence here is unmistakably a signal. The northeastern lifeline is now under observation and potentially within operational reach. And the challenge does not stop with China. Pakistan has quietly re-entered Bangladesh's security equation. On the 8th of November 2025, the PNS Saif, a Chinese-built Zulfikar-class frigate, docked at Chattogram, the first Pakistani warship to do so since 1971. Military training modules for Bangladesh, coordinated by Islamabad, are set to begin in February 2026. The result is a three-pronged pressure on India's northeastern corridor. China provides infrastructure and potential surveillance. Pakistan brings military training and proxy leverage. Bangladesh, under Yunus, offers territory and political cover. Add internal vulnerabilities in Assam and other northeastern states, and the chicken's neck faces a multi-dimensional strategic threat unlike any in India's history. India has already begun responding. New garrisons have been established at Kishanganj in Bihar, Bamuni-Gaon in Assam, and Chopra in West Bengal. Plans for a fourth base in Mizoram are underway. The Eastern Command's General Officer Commanding, Lieutenant General R.C. Tiwari, recently visited Thwampui near Azol to assess security and operational readiness along the corridor.
You would have seen probably in the last few weeks, you would have seen this, that there was some interest shown by Chinese in refurbishing that Lalmonirhat airfield, which was Second World War airfield, which was closer to the Chicken Neck area. And a couple of days ago, you would have found the Chinese ambassador to Bangladesh trying to make a visit to the Teesta, which is again closer to the Indian border. And as you are aware, Teesta is something that is actually worrying the Bangladesh government and the people. And there have been negotiations which have been going on earlier also on this. So, seeing this, there seems to be some interest, at least for the Chinese, to come closer to the Chicken Neck. Not that Bangladesh can literally give this place to China and then enter into a war. That is unlikely. But however, these are going to create issues for actually defending Chicken Neck. So, like for example, we gave the message to Mr. Wang Yi when he came, the Chinese foreign minister, when he came to Delhi in August last year, about the new dam that they are planning on Brahmaputra. Similarly, the concerns that we have, I'm sure, will be raised by our government with both China and Bangladesh. Bangladesh, I think, will probably get more stable after the elections happen in another month's time. We'll have to wait and see as to how that situation develops. And then you need to communicate your concerns, security concerns, basically to Bangladesh government. I'm sure as far as Pakistan is concerned, the role of Pakistan in Siliguri Corridor may be slightly less. But in any case, if should we see that any action of Pakistan is detrimental to our security interests, I'm sure that also will get conveyed in very clear terms to all the three countries, both China, Bangladesh and Pakistan.
But geography complicates matters. The corridor is flanked by Nepal and Bhutan, with China's Chumbi Valley just beyond the horizon. Narrow, exposed, and densely populated, the Chicken's Neck cannot absorb sustained pressure without risk. Lalmonirhat's upgraded airbase provides Chinese surveillance over India's Eastern Air Command. The corridor's vulnerability is no longer theoretical, it is operational. Historical context underscores the stakes. During the 1962 war with China, the Northeast was acutely vulnerable. The corridor has always been India's Achilles heel in the east. Today, the risks are amplified by dual-use infrastructure, cross-border radicalization, and multi-vector encirclement. Radicalization is rising within Bangladesh. Student activists turned politicians, newly launched parties, and the return of Jamaat-e-Islami signal anti-India sentiment gaining political traction. Inflammatory speeches threaten India's northeastern states, while violent incidents such as the killing of Sharif Osman Hadi escalate tensions. Analysts warn that these domestic political shifts, combined with Chinese and Pakistani support, could amplify operational threats along the corridor. The Teesta River project is central to this strategic pressure. China's engineering embankments, reservoirs, and dredging may seem developmental, but the dual-use potential is clear. In a conflict scenario, infrastructure could facilitate rapid movement, surveillance, or logistical support for forces positioned near the corridor. The airbase revival at Lalmonirhat exemplifies this. Hardened shelters, underground fuel depots, and drone aprons provide capabilities far beyond civilian utility. The proximity to India's strategic corridor means that even ostensibly technical projects can have profound operational implications. Pakistan's involvement is equally consequential. Naval presence at Chattogram, military training for Bangladeshi forces, and coordination with radical elements create additional pressure points. Analysts warn that anti-India student activism could be leveraged to destabilize the northeast, facilitate infiltration, or enable cross-border smuggling of arms and narcotics. India faces a multi-domain challenge. The corridor is geographically constrained, exposed to cross-border influence, and politically pressured by a hostile Bangladesh. Military garrisons alone cannot offset the threat. Infrastructure monitoring, intelligence, and contingency planning are essential. In response, India has not only bolstered garrisons but is also improving redundancy. Expressways such as the Gorakhpur-Siliguri Corridor, rail upgrades, and cross-border connectivity through Bangladesh provide alternative logistical options. This ensures that supply lines and troop movements are not entirely dependent on the narrow choke point. Yet uncertainty remains. Bangladesh's elections in February 2026 could empower radical or anti-India factions. Yunus's alignment with China and Pakistan has already demonstrated that domestic political change in Dhaka can have direct operational implications for India's eastern frontier. The stakes are clear. Chicken's Neck is small, but symbolically and operationally critical. 8 states, 45 million people, and vital economic and military arteries pass through this corridor. Its security is a litmus test of India's capacity to integrate defense, intelligence, and geopolitical foresight. Experts describe the situation as a multi-vector threat environment. Chinese infrastructure projects, Pakistan's military cooperation, and Bangladesh's political tilt create a convergence of operational pressure. Add internal vulnerabilities, radicalized elements, and demographic shifts in Assam, and the corridor's exposure increases significantly. India's strategic challenge is therefore twofold: deter external threats and manage internal vulnerabilities. Modern garrisons, advanced weapon systems, surveillance technology, and contingency planning are crucial. At the same time, diplomacy and engagement with regional partners remain essential to reduce the likelihood of escalation. Scenario planning is critical. Analysts warn that even partial disruption of the corridor could isolate northeastern states, disrupt economic activity, and compromise military operations. Multi-domain defense, including land, air, cyber, and intelligence, is essential to mitigate these risks.
Well, the Siliguri Corridor geographically looks like a vulnerability for India, but this is precisely the reason that the Indian Army has invested very heavily in its defense. It's concentrated an entire army corps in the region. The 33 Corps, which is based in Siliguri, which is a part of the Chicken's Neck, so-called Chicken's Neck. The 33 Corps is based in a place called Sukna, and from there it guards the entire so-called Chicken's Neck. A corps, as you know, is over 2 Indian Army infantry divisions, more than 30,000 troops. So it's adequately protected and guarded by the Indian Army. And in fact, if any adversary plans to do anything about the Chicken's Neck, they should worry about their own vulnerabilities rather than look at India's geographical vulnerabilities.
The broader picture is stark. Lalmonirhat, the Teesta River project, and Chattogram are not isolated developments. They are part of a strategic pattern. China, Pakistan, and Bangladesh are testing India's eastern front, using political, military, and infrastructural levers to apply pressure. Historically, choke points have determined strategic outcomes. Today, the Chicken's Neck is no longer just geography. It is a multi-dimensional pressure point with implications for national security, operational readiness, and regional stability. India's northeast is now a live front for geopolitics. The corridor must be defended not only with garrisons and infrastructure, but also through proactive intelligence, surveillance, and rapid response capabilities. The challenge is not hypothetical. It is real, immediate, and complex. In the coming months, the actions India takes along the corridor will define not only the security of the Northeast, but also India's capacity to deter a converging China, Pakistan, Bangladesh axis. Chicken's Neck is small, but its strategic significance has never been greater. The corridor's vulnerability is real. Chinese engineers, Pakistani military influence, and a politically volatile Bangladesh are converging on India's eastern lifeline. Operational, political, and demographic risks intersect here, creating a scenario that India cannot afford to ignore. For Delhi, the message is urgent. The Siliguri Corridor is not merely a strip of land. It is a test of India's strategic foresight, military preparedness, and geopolitical resolve. The Chicken's Neck is under pressure, and the world is watching whether India can secure its northeastern lifeline before encirclement becomes a strategic reality. Thank you for watching Statecraft.